here in Colombo. Of course, the usual host Faraj Shaukat Ali is out for the day. He is quite under the weather. His distinctive voice is given away, and that's the reason why he is not present here today. I'm Sharlan, Benedict, and I will be here in his stead. Of course, getting to know our guest, parliamentarian Mano Ganeshan, a vocal opposition member in Parliament. A very good evening, sir, and welcome to the show.
Good evening, Sharlan.
MP Mano Ganeshan, really, we're talking about the 20th Amendment. That's the talk of the town these days. And as the opposition, the SJB has announced their stance. They are against the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. However, with the government having a two-thirds majority in Parliament, it's most likely that they will pass this legislation. Now, they've said that they are willing to add amendments to this draft amendment to the Constitution during the committee stage debates. Is the SJB planning on presenting any amendments to this at the committee stage?
Sharlan, this is the way. Now, we have already got issues within the government.
Right.
Our opposition has had an impact in the government side, I understand.
Okay.
Informally and formally, we have come to know about it. That's one thing. The stage one, we have won it.
Okay.
The second thing is, this is a cultural shock. It's going through the country.
Right.
The 6.9 million voters which voted President Gotabaya Rajapaksa in are going through a shock now, political and cultural shock. Those nationalist forces which supported the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa are upset about it. They support, they may support, they support President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, but they don't support this 20th Amendment, this piece of legislation just brought into the gazetted already, proposed by the government. That's one thing.
Right.
Other issue is, we have our own plans.
Right.
We have own plans. Now, government, we have made the governments to announce, make announcement that they will make, they will bring
changes
in the committee changes.
Right.
See, committee changes are meant for only emergency purposes.
Right.
Small issues here and there can make, but because committee changes, amendments restrict our liberties. Parliamentary democracy very much. Okay. Even during the 19th Amendment period, we made our mistakes. I know. I personally, I don't approve making major changes to committee changes. And besides, the spirit of the 20th Amendment cannot be changed there. We are against the very spirit of the 20th Amendment.
Right. Well, of course, the government admitted that there are certain shortcomings in the 20th Amendment, and that is one of the reasons why Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa appointed a separate cabinet subcommittee, of course, consisting mostly of members who were there in the initial committee that drafted the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. However, they acknowledged the fact that there are changes, that there are mistakes, and there needs to be changes made. Any idea of what was included in the report that was submitted by the cabinet subcommittee?
$1 million question, I should say. Now, other issues, Sharlan, now there is no ownership. Nobody's owning it.
That was actually going to be my next question to you.
Obviously.
Who drafted the 20th Amendment?
I should say now, Prime Minister has appointed a committee.
Okay.
Committee is supposed to have submitted his report to the Prime Minister. It was to be submitted to the cabinet, but it was not so. Then, end of the day, the President had to come out openly, vocally, and said that I own the 20A.
Okay.
Yes, said so. Nobody's owning it. So that means the fear has gone in there.
Right.
That's it.
So moving forward with the 20th Amendment, again, as I said at the beginning of the program, it's most likely that Parliament will pass this because they have a two-thirds majority after all. They can do whatever they want. How really is the Samagi Janabalavegya planning on rallying around the forces?
May I tell you one thing, Sharlan, before we go into our plans and activities.
Okay.
Now the Parliament has 225 members.
Okay.
They have 150. I mean, let us say 150. That doesn't mean the other 75 should go home. We have a role to play. We are playing the role. Other thing is that just because you are Parliament majority, it doesn't mean what you say, what you do are always correct. Let us go into history. In 1956, the single only law was brought into this country. Then Dr. Colvinati Silva said, if it is one language,
two countries.
There's two languages, one country. Nobody was listening to him. Later, we paid heavy price. Now, officially, in the Constitution of Sri Lanka, has accepted both languages as official languages. Understand? So, just because you have Parliament majority doesn't mean there are so many other examples I can cite. So, therefore, we will do that. Now, our activities, SJB activities, will be not only restricted to the Parliament House, but also outside. Yeah. Already started.
But looking at this whole issue from the perspective of the general public, like you said, the opposition has a huge role to play, especially in a parliamentary democracy, and preventing mistakes like what you said before, passing of the Sinhala Only Act that resulted in such chaos and carnage. We've lost so many lives. We've lost our national unity because of just a single piece of legislation, and we don't want that to happen again. And it is partly the responsibility of the opposition to prevent something like that from happening. But looking at this issue from the eyes of the general public, some would say that this opposition is really not raising enough of a voice against the 20th Amendment for what they believe in.
Well, I can take it as a constructive criticism. It's fine,
Okay.
but we are doing on our own. We are doing very much within ourselves. On next Monday,
Okay.
we are having a workshop in the Parliament House for the SGP MPs alone. We are bringing the awareness within the MPs, parliamentarians. Then going forward, going into the country.
Right.
And every district, every province, every electorate, we are going to have our own people's activities doing it. So already what I say is, as I said earlier, the singular Buddhist nationalistic forces which supported the establishment of this government are under a shock, going through a shock.
Right.
I don't want to name anybody, but the religious leaders and community leaders have expressed the opposition to this piece of law.
Right.
Already. So we are on the right path, I think so, because this is now, it has gone beyond government opposition or party politics. It is Sri Lanka against the destructive forces of democracy.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were speaking about a workshop on Monday for the members of the SJB. Of course, one thing that has to be pointed out is the fact that the opposition in this parliament is a clear minority. Not just a minority, all oppositions are minorities, but it's a clear minority since the government has a 2/3 majority, and we keep highlighting this fact. So do you believe that there is unity among the opposition parties when it comes to this matter?
Yes, I said no. This is beyond party politics now. All the opposition parties are together right now, opposing this piece of land, a piece of law.
Well, the Samaki Jana Balavegi has come out and openly said that they will oppose the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. I believe the Jatika Jana Balavegi, the three members of that group, have also all voiced their opposition, saying, we're not going to support this, we're not going to amend this, you can't go back from this. But the Tamil National Alliance has not still made clear this stance.
And as I know, it is for the TNA to come out openly, but as I understand informally, TNA is vocal against this piece of law, these proposals.
Right.
And all the other minority parties in the opposition side are against it. I can tell you with all the responsibility. Don't worry about it. Coming weeks will, next week, the Parliament week will prove the point. Yeah.
On the 22nd of September, of course, this will be tabled in Parliament, and this was confirmed by the Secretary General of Parliament that it will be on the agenda of Parliament. Now, when this act is brought, like you said again, in the committee stage debates, there are only so many changes that you can propose. You can't go against the spirit of the act. Does the SJB plan on bringing at least some proposals to change this, or are you outright going to reject it?
Outright rejection. But however, may I tell you something? We consider this 20th Amendment, 20A, as 18 plus.
Okay.
You know what is 18th Amendment?
18th Amendment, yes.
Was the Draconian piece of law which was brought into our constitution. So we brought 19th Amendment against 18th Amendment. So this is not, this is going far away, far more than 18th Amendment. So it is 18A. Our alternative proposals would be not 19 plus. So this 20th Amendment is going to be considered as 18 plus. Our alternative proposals would be 19 plus.
But you just said yourself that you can't introduce drastic changes during the committee stage of the debate. So can you really propose 19 plus during the committee stage? Would that be possible?
No, obviously there is a political statement.
Right, okay.
Political statement.
Right.
You understand?
Okay.
Political statement in the Parliament House. So we'll propose these things. We don't have to propose a prepared amendment of in a legal status. We don't have to do that.
Right.
But we will say this is what we want, because 19th Amendment is good. It brought freedom, democracy to this country and legitimized everything. So we wanted to improve from that. After going through it, we found certain shortcomings.
Right.
That is positively we'll have to improve that.
Right.
Improvement is not changing, going back. We're going to improve it. Improvement is only 19 plus.
So let's take a look at the arguments that the government has put forward in favor of the 20th Amendment. What the government really says is, this is a temporary measure. this is not permanent. We're going to draft a new constitution and we'll present it in 2 years.
If this temporary measure itself is not draconian, I would expect the permanent thing to going to come in 2 years. No, terrible.
So you are not in any way hopeful that there could be, you know, brighter days in the future, even though you don't agree with the 20th Amendment?
Unfortunately, I would say yes. Sorry for this, saying this, but that is the reality here.
But of course, looking back, even when the 19th Amendment was initially introduced, President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa promised the opposition members, or at least the members of the SLFP at the time, the joint opposition, that they will bring a new constitution. But the process was ongoing, but it never materialized. And now they are coming out and saying, you know, that's the reason why we're voting against the 19th
No, it can't be
Amendment.
reason. No, it can't be reason. It can't be reason. It was promised. There are certain ideas and concepts were promised to this country of these people, but it didn't materialize. But doesn't mean that they should go back. Now you see, you said that President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe produced this piece of law. It is not so. It has a history for at least a decade of history of civil society and political society working together and bringing this piece of law as 19th Amendment to this Parliament House, according to the constitutional book. So it has a long history. It is the struggle of civil society. I am proud to call myself a civil society activist rather than a parliamentarian. So,
The struggles of the civil society, the struggles of the general public, politics of Sri Lanka, part of our debate here today on Newsline. When we come back, we will discuss the SJB stance and its relationship with the United National Party, which was also a major stakeholder in the opposition. We'll cross over to this short commercial break and be right back. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Newsline.
Newsfirst, Newsline.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsline on TV1. We're in discussion with the parliamentarian Mano Ganeshan, of course, regarding the current political situation in the country. Of course, before the break, we promised our viewers that we will discuss the stance of the SJB when it comes to the United National Party, which is, of course, the mother party of the Samagijana Balawege. Correct me if I'm wrong?
not exactly,
Not exactly.
but somewhat pay. Yeah.
Initially, it began.
Major
in
portion of the SJP
Okay.
could be
Came from
could
the
be
UNP.
considered, Yeah.
But since then, since you broke away from the United National Party, there has been some change that has come about. Ron Vijayawardena has been appointed as the deputy leader of the party after massive calls for change in the United National Party leadership. And Ron Vijayawardena has expressed his willingness to work with the Samagijana Balawege. What's your stance regarding that?
Well, my good wishes to Ruwan, my good friend.
Okay.
On the other hand, there is already opposition within UNP itself against him for the appointment. That is their business. One thing. Other issues now, SJB could accommodate UNP. There is no issue over it. But however, I think there are certain personalities we have identified who had underhand dealings with the government.
Okay.
While we were the current government, when they were in the opposition,
Right.
while being in our government, they are underhand dealings with the current government grouping. Then, and also during the run-up to the elections,
Right.
parliament elections, as well as before that the presidential elections, they are underhand dealings with these.
So you're saying that they work to
So they are not
sabotage the
welcome.
campaign of the United National Party?
Pardon?
You're saying that these forces that you were speaking of, they work to sabotage the campaign
Obviously,
of the United National Party?
obviously, the UNP grassroots level members,
Right.
from them to the high level, are aware of it. So they cannot be accommodated in the SJB. I don't think so. It is not going to take us anywhere. It is going to take us backward. We can't do that. We can't afford to do that. But obviously, UNP could come in, be a part of SJB.
And also when it comes to the parliamentary seat of the United National Party that they secured through the national list, if the United National Party is willing to work with Samagijana Balawege, would you maybe recommend as the Samagijana Balawege or a person who should represent the United National Party?
That
in
is their
parliament?
business. But if you ask me formally, today morning I had a chat with my good friend Akhil Viraj Karivasam.
Okay.
My good friend he was. He was the only working minister there. I saw one of the leading working minister.
Okay.
So I said, if Akhil if we are going to come into the parliament, I'd be very happy. I said, told him. Really meant it.
Right.
Yeah.
So on an official level, would the Samagijana Balawege go as far as, you know, saying we would prefer if this person would come into parliament? That is under the condition if you decide to work with the United National Party.
Well, I don't think so we can do that. Officially we can't say that. It is another party now. I can't go into internal issues of another party. I only said informally I can say that. I said this to Akila, that's all. So proper.
So, speaking of the plans of the Samagi Jana Balavegi, again getting back to our discussion regarding the 20th Amendment to the Constitution, do you believe that the unity, or if the Samagi Jana Balavegi and the United National Party are unified, there will be a better force against the 20th Amendment to the Constitution?
Yeah, that will give some confidence to the people outside the Parliament and within the Parliament also. It's good. Welcome.
So again, moving to the substance of the 20th Amendment to the Constitution and the arguments that have been presented for it. We spoke about one, the fact that that the government needs to work, and that is the reason why the 20th Amendment was brought into Parliament. Specifically, the immunity of the President. They said that the President needs an immunity from suit if he is to work properly, and at the end of the day, that's what the people voted for, right? 6.9 million people said, give us a President who works. Even President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's theme song, what
is stopping His Excellency the President from working now? He has the parliamentary majority. He was voted about 7 million voters voted him in. What is stopping him from working? He can work always. There's no issue.
Well, let's talk about
more than the President, more than the Prime Minister, more than the government. What is important is the Sri Lankan state. State of Sri Lanka is very important. Governments can come and go. Presidents can come and go. We can come in and go out. But we are all on a lease period. We are going to stay as parliamentarians or presidents or as a government for 5 years. If we do good, our term will be extended. But so the Sri Lankan state is a permanent entity.
Governments.
That is what is important, because these piece of proposals are damaging the Sri Lankan state. That's what I said earlier. That is very important, not the government.
But I think we really need to give the benefit of the doubt to the people who are not here, and that's the governing party. You're representing the opposition. We're an independent media network. Let's say, for example, the people in the governing party really believe that we really need to do a lot of work to develop Sri Lanka. They're of the idea that people like Lee Kuan Yew, who developed Singapore, he ruled with an iron fist. He ruled for 30 years.
I don't think so. Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew ruled the Singapore with iron fist with such laws. I don't think so. It is not so. It is not so. There are certain there are certain ideas and concepts which we'll have to learn from Lee Kuan Yew. We're running short of time. I can't explain everything here.
Yes.
But what I say is now, this president has a power within himself, within the parliament, and he has a good cabinet, as he said. Now we also telling them to work and keep working.
Will you support him?
No, we can support from where we are right now.
Right.
We can support him from the opposition right now.
Yes.
Support him. We are telling him to produce.
Work for the people.
Deliver the promises. That's all. You can do that. So these silly arguments, saying that the president needs immunity. Already the president had immunity
from criminal and civil.
Yes, criminal civil.
It's only the fundamental
rights we can now that's also taken away.
Yes.
Now you see we are Constitutional Council. It has been turned into now Parliamentary Council. So
rubber stamp.
Rubber stamp. Because earlier it was the Constitutional Council was approver status. Now it is observer status. Reduced to that. So by reducing the Constitutional Council as Parliamentary Council to observer status, all our independent commissions go lifeless. Yes.
Even the right to information.
Obviously. Right to information, they claim they take some credit, saying that we are not touched it. But when Constitutional Council goes into 6, it has gone into pieces. Therefore, that is also powerless. Going to be powerless.
So, speaking about another argument that they say, for especially the abolishment of the National Procurement Commission and the National Audit Commission, they said investments didn't come into Sri Lanka because of these commissions, because of these red tapes that were there. And that's, at least besides the reason, the part where they said too much of foreign direct investment didn't come into Sri Lanka is at least true. But is it really this red tape that they claim?
No.
The reason behind foreign direct investment not coming into Sri Lanka?
On the contrary, it is the other way around.
Okay.
The investors who come in wish to see a rule of law prevailing here.
Right.
A free legislature and free judiciary and free police system and especially rule of law should prevail here. That's how we'll make a stabilized country. stabilized state. That is what they want here. Unless there is stabilization, nobody will come and invest here. So it's contrary the other way around.
So, as a member of the opposition, as a vocal member of the opposition, as a member of the largest group in the opposition, the Samagi Jana Balawegya, what do you really have to tell the people when it comes to the 20th Amendment to the Constitution? The final few minutes.
Yes, stay with us. Work with us. Listen to us. We are, as I said, at the beginning I said, it is not just SJB issue, neither our party issue, that party issue, this party issue or the opposition. It is Sri Lankan issue, national issue. Beyond politics, we'll protect Sri Lankan state. Go forward. Support us.
And there you heard it from a parliamentarian of the Samagi Jana Balawegya, Mano Ganeshan. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us on our show and clearing out these issues regarding major political changes that we're expecting to see in our country in the future. Thank you, of course, very much to our ardent viewers out there for tuning in to Newsline. Of course, stay tuned to Newsline for the latest in the political happenings here in Sri Lanka. Stay connected and be a part of this country. Thank you very much for watching. And your usual host, Farah Shaukat Ali, of course, will be with you for sure on Monday. Same time, same place. Until then, take care and God bless.